Also at the end, there is some time, I leave some time open for Q&A. So if you have any questions whatsoever, since this is a live session, please let me know if you have any questions. Also on the screen here, you see my email address. You know where to find me. If you have any questions where we can help you with all your HPE projects in the near future. Now, why InfoSight? Why is it so important for a tool which as such you cannot sell? Since HPE InfoSight, there are no licenses that you can sell towards your customers. It's integrated with most of the HPE solutions. Which HPE solutions also? This is something that we're going to cover in this session. Okay, good. Why InfoSight? Well, it's very simple. In all those years where everything is going faster, more now, of course, we see more and more challenges. If you take a look also with the pandemic, the last 9 months, I think that almost everyone is working from home. Or at least not in the office that he's used to work with. Also, that brings some technical challenges as well. I'm thinking about the complexity of an infrastructure. I have seen a lot of challenges these days with VDI, remote desktop, virtual desktop infrastructure, VPN connectivity. Don't forget security. Even this morning, I saw in the press that there is also back again yet another Belgian hospital that got hacked. By some hackers, and where they had to disconnect everything from the internet because there was a major downtime in that hospital, which is really a little bit even terrifying. And now with all those Internet of Things internet connected objects that are generating data that needs to be sent through 3G, 4G, 5G, 6G, Wi-Fi, whatever, something connections to that main data center, there's more and more workloads generated everywhere that we need to manage, that we need to maintain, that we need to connect, that we need to secure, that we need to protect, and so on and so on. Therefore, we see more and more pressure on the IT teams firefighting. Okay, we don't have the time to work in a proactive way, or not enough. I'm a techie. Okay, I'm doing this already for 25 years or something like that. I am a techie, and I cannot count the hours or even days or weekends anymore that I was in a data center from a customer solving issues. Yeah. Too much time, not enough time to work proactively. On top of that, now as well with the pandemic, of course, there is that pressure to lower the cost. We need to do more with less. We see it everywhere, not only in IT, but we see it everywhere as well, which has an impact on the resources, us or your IT team that needs to maintain those environments. And finally, that's maybe the result. Yeah, there is a pressure. We need to, like I just said, we need to do more with less, because also that application development, when I'm thinking about 20 years ago, that was also easy. At that moment in time, it wasn't easy, but it was much easier because at that moment, I'm talking about the year 2000. That's maybe a tricky one with Y2K, but even then we had 2003 with Windows, Office, Exchange, whatsoever. Then there was a new version in 2007 and 2010 and 2013. So every 3-4 years, there was a new major release of software. And then automatically there was, most of the time, new hardware. So we could sell servers, we could sell storage. We did the installation of the software, we did the migration of the data. And at the end, we were okay for, let's say, 3-4 years. And then it's all started over again. Well, today, can you imagine that companies like, how many companies are there on the internet? All the Facebooks, the LinkedIns, the WhatsApps, the Signals, the Ubers, all those, companies that are using the internet IT as their core foundation of their product. If they don't have IT, if they don't have the internet, it's finished, it's gone, right? All the bol.coms and so on. Good luck for them. They need IT, they need that infrastructure. Can you imagine that you say now, hey, here's Facebook 2021, and now you have to wait for 3 years before there are new features? Believe me, in 2 weeks, they will people will go to another platform because there are enough platforms. Another example, what's happening now with WhatsApp. I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing. That's not important. But with WhatsApp, there's a newspaper that says, hey, take a look, Facebook, they're going to get your information from WhatsApp. Boom, everyone is going to Signal. There are enough alternatives. So it gets to be going faster, more with less, of course, with the application development, with the intelligence behind it. And then imagine you're there. This is your application. There is your data. You are any company, whatever. It can be bol.com, it can be Facebook, it can be a hospital, it can be an airport, it can be anything from your customers. There is a user that says, I have an application, I have a laptop, I have a camera, I have just a dumb terminal here, but I am waiting for my data. This is today not acceptable. There are numbers that say when people go to a website and they have this for 3 seconds, they're already gone. If your website is too slow, don't worry, I'll find another website where I can find also that information. Yeah, so it's got to go faster and better and more. By the way, this is one of the reasons why we have all flash arrays to lower the latency. Capacity is going up, but also the performance, the latency, which is the time that we need to get our access, needs to be lower as well. By the way, FYI, on Thursday, so in 2 days from now, there is an update, a storage update session as well. Okay, about how the HPE portfolio is also coping, is answering these kind of challenges as well, but then from the storage point of view. While today, InfoSight, that intelligence that we're talking, because we're going to talk about InfoSight. Initially, InfoSight is coming from the storage environment, but today InfoSight is everywhere. Yeah. So InfoSight came with the acquisition of Nimble. It was part of the Nimble team. Then it was moved to the storage team, to the storage business unit from HPE. And then it got out of the storage BU, because now InfoSight, you will see in my presentation, by the way, that it's also on servers, that it's on hyperconverged, that it's almost, it's not everywhere, but it's almost everywhere. It keeps on growing. And this is why as well, InfoSight, you will see that it's in another software business unit now within HPE, because it became too important for HPE. It outgrew the storage environment. And that intelligence, this is, by the way, marketing. Intelligence changes everything. Of course, you cannot go with this to your customer. This is why probably you have seen this already somewhere where I presented this to you or to your end customers maybe, but intelligence is key. And the easiest way to explain this to anyone, let it be the IT technical guy or the architect or the CIO or the CEO of a company or the line of business, those who develop the products, you can explain why you need that lower latency, higher performance, and also why you need intelligence, because the intelligence will help you to make smarter and faster decisions so that your business can make better decisions and so can do more business at the end. Practical, really basic example that everyone will understand is GPS functionality. Yeah, when I explained this to my kids today, they said, huh? What is that? Guide Michelin? Can you imagine one day I want to go on holiday to, I don't know where, the south of France or Holland or the Belgian coast, because now, by the way, we're not allowed to go anywhere anyway. But can you imagine that you needed to book and you had to decide yourself, go from point A to point B, and you had to make that decision? Now, of course, through the time, we know all those electronic devices not connected and afterwards connected devices. Why is that? Why does it need to be connected? Just for more and more intelligence. And I think today everyone understands the additional value of a solution like, for instance, Waze or Google Maps, or there's are some other platforms that are and connected. And with that connected information, they're going to give you more insights, more information, and all those insights, all that information can give you better decisions. Okay, I need to go left, right, maybe turn around and stay at home, you'll see. But even then, this is a very basic example why intelligence is better. Also, go to school. Someone that went to school until 14 years, 18 years, or 22 years. In general, I assume that someone that went to school until 22, I assume that he is smarter and that he can make better decisions because he has more intelligence, more insights as well through those years. And so this is what HPE, by the way, is saying. Okay, it's up to you to see which slide, which story that you're going to use to your customer. Now, this is the official answer from HPE. Then, well, Mr. Customer, we're coming from a flash era more than 10 years ago. The flash era is SSDs and all flash array. When I was saying to my customers 10 years ago, hey, Tripar, one day Tripar will be all flash. They said, you're crazy, forget it. Well, today all Tripars and all Primeras are all flash. It all started also with your laptop. Can you imagine today a laptop with a SATA drive? Yeah, once that you had a laptop experience with an SSD in there, you will never want to go back to a laptop with a SATA drive. It's all about the speed, the efficiency. When I put the power button, bang, my Windows is there. I don't have to wait 30 seconds or even 1 minute before my PC is booted. That was the flash era. Yeah, it's already there for many years. Of course, the cloud era. I don't have to tell you about the cloud, the public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud, managed cloud, intelligent cloud, whatever, how many clouds that are there, all the Alibabas, the Amazons, the Azures, the private clouds as well here that you are creating. Why is the cloud there? It's not because it's cheaper, forget it, it's not cheaper. It's all about agility. It's all about as a service experience. By the way, if you want to know more about as a service experience, I suggest that you go take a look at the recording of our session of last week, which is Green Lake, by the way, because Green Lake is HPE, but HPE as a service. We had a great webinar last week. The recording is on the same website where you registered for this webinar and the upcoming webinars, which is techdataevents.be. So go take a look. The recording is there. If you want to have more information, hey, you know where to find us. Yeah, but that's the cloud era. Well, now today, you must understand that we are in an intelligence era. Okay, it's your experience of your IT. Let it be the installation, the management, the utilization of your IT environment. Let it be a small or a really huge IT environment in your own server room or in a server room from someone else. The operations needs to be AI driven. It's not possible anymore that you know all this from your servers and your storage and your networking and the operating system and the hypervisor and all the VMs and all the containers on top of it with all the applications, with all the network connectivity. And don't forget data protection as well. Oh yeah, by the way, where is your data? Is it here? Is it somewhere created in the edge? Or is it stored somewhere in some kind of a public cloud? Yeah, because today data is everywhere as well. Okay, in the past I had one Synology with all my pictures on there. I think now I have 20 locations where I have pictures from all my smartphones from me and my kids, up to a copy in some kind of a cloud and another copy somewhere on my computers here. So data explosion everywhere. We need that AI driven experience. And by the way, at the end of the presentation, I'm going to show you, because HPE started, how long is it already? More than 3 years that HPE started with the acquisition of Nimble with InfoSight. InfoSight as such exists already for 10 years. You're going to see that in a minute, by the way, from where it comes. And to prove that I'm correct with the intelligence era is, you will see at the end, we're going to talk about the competition. We're not only in the IT market here. Well, you will see that also our competitors, they're good. Yeah. They also start with their products now. Take a look at products with IQ in there. You will recognize them. They are also, they call it Active IQ, Cloud IQ. There's a pure Meta 1 as well with some IQ in there. Well, this is to prove that HPE was right all those years ago already, that intelligence is indeed key. Now, the easy thing for us is, yeah, how intelligent are they? They just got started. We already have 10 years of experience. We are much more intelligent. We can make better and more decisions because we have more insights. That's the advantage of HPE InfoSight, of course. And why is that? Well, there you go. This is what we see. In the past, we saw indeed storage. And the storage is connected through a network with servers. And with those servers, on top of that, we have a hypervisor to run virtual machines or containers on top of it. The more, the better, of course. But we have more and more variables. And if everything is working fine, no one is complaining. But if there's a problem, this is a nightmare to troubleshoot if you want to do this yourself. And what was found out is that, okay, there's a problem. Okay, let's reboot it. Nope, doesn't work. Reboot the server. Nope, doesn't work. Hey, network guy, is there a problem? Ping. Nope, there's no network problem. Everything seems to be fine. So it had to be the storage environment. And this is, by the way, what the engineers of Nimble found out is that most of the problems, they thought that the problem was storage related. And if we put faster storage in there, then all our problems are solved. Well, at the end, we got faster storage with all-flash arrays, and apparently not all problems were solved with just that faster storage, right? Most of the problems they found out, thanks to InfoSight, they found out that most of the problems, being 80% of the problems, they came from all the components on top of storage. Now, of course, you got to be able to prove this, yeah? And this is why Nimble at that moment in time created a platform, an intelligent platform called InfoSight. And so this is what we're using now, because by the way, this is the picture where I said, where is your data? Yeah, okay, we have our general purpose virtualized data, we have mission critical data, we have secondary data, backups, copies, archives. We have DevOps creating data, we have all that big data that is creating data. It can be on premises, of course, it can be probably as well in some kind of a cloud. And in this picture today, I can add all those edges as well, all those IoT interconnected devices as well, generating data, sending it through a wired or wireless connection to the left or to the right on this picture. Well, good luck. That's what we call a complex environment. And like I said, by the way, 2020, 40 zettabyte. Okay, yeah, we're at 2021. The latest number that I have seen is 2025, and we should be somewhere around 225 zettabytes. Yeah, call me. I'll make you a good price to store all that data. Yeah, that's insane. By the way, gotta do something with that data. It's not that you have the data, you gotta do something with it. That's why, back again, we need that intelligence. And if you are not doing it, don't worry. Facebook and Google and Alibaba and all those other companies, they will take care of your data and put some intelligence on there as well. Well, this is the experience that we want to give as well to your customers by using InfoSight to optimize the IT operations from their IT infrastructure. And this is finally where it's going. We will deliver a solution that is always on. How are we going to do that? Hey, Thursday, that's the storage webinar where we're going to explain everything about always on, always fast, SSD, NVMe, persistent memory. Hey, SSD today is considered as being the new general, the new normal, because we have much more faster solutions than SSDs today. It's called NVMe and persistent memory. And it's already available in multiple HPE solutions today. If you want more information, hey, that's another webinar about smart storage, about intelligent storage. Automated on demand, well, that's the cloud. Reasoning, everything is automated and scripted. It is hybrid by design. So yeah, we have something on premises, we have something in the cloud, and something in between. We have that hybrid solution where we can choose between. Practical example, we have an electric car and a car that wants to go really far as well on gasoline. Well, we have those hybrid cars, which are very popular today as well. And so HP says, we're gonna add global intelligence on the overall picture. And this is one important thing already about the competition. What we're going to talk about at the end of the presentation is that, yeah, I know there are some competitors who are really fast. Okay, that's good. There are competitors that say, yeah, we're working on high availability, on always on. Some of them are really automated and very on demand and very service driven and so on, cloud driven. But that's the whole thing. With HPE, our customers, HPE partners, you can deliver all this with one solution. All the others, they will need to do it in some kind of way with multiple solutions or partnerships and so on. While with HPE solutions, you will see that we can give all those 5 important requirements of an IT solution. You can do it all with one solution. Okay, well, there you go. About the intelligence, why is this so important? And this is a picture that I'm using as well for our competitive story as well. So all the competitors that say, yeah, we start with an IQ something, now an intelligent platform. Well, take a look. This is the advance that we have already. So Nimble started in 2010. InfoSight came out because they captured the data in 2010, but it became visible in 2011, and yet millions of data points from those at that moment in time Nimble Generation 1 storage solution. And then they started generating, collecting more and more data. And somewhere in 2013, they added that predictive support automation. This is something like Waze is doing. Yeah? Predict that there is a traffic jam, predict that there's a problem in front of you, and send you somewhere else. As you can see, they started selling more and more systems, generating more and more data points. We're going up to a few trillions already. They added VM analytics. VM analytics, which is a very important one that we're going to talk later on, is about the cross-stack analytics. What does that mean? We can see storage, we can see the network connection, we can see the server running the hypervisor with the VM on top of it. So we can see from 2016 on, we have that end-to-end view from a VM with an application, and we can see all the way down where that data is stored. And so we can see with predictive analytics if there is a problem or not. Imagine one of the challenges of a hypervisor, a virtualized environment administrator. Just Google it. It's called noisy neighbors. Noisy neighbors, as the name implies, you have a neighbor which is noisy. In reality, I have 10, 20, 30 virtual machines on your server environment. Well, there's always one that is a noisy neighbor that is impacting the performance of those 19 other VMs. It can be bandwidth, it can be IOPS, it can be most of the time the latency that goes up. Too many practical examples in real life that happened already. Well, now you will see I have practical pictures in a minute in the presentation. I have practical examples. And if you want a demo, no problem. Call me, send me an email. We will arrange those demos for you in real life to show you how this cross-stack analytics can help you. One practical example, you will get a top 10 list of all the VMs using or maybe abusing your environment. The top 10, not only on CPU, because that's so easy, the VM that is consuming the most CPU, most of the time that's not a troublemaker. Yeah. Memory consumption, but also storage consumption, IO consumption, latency consumption, and so on. That's really easy to do that root cause analysis, thanks to InfoSight. Look at that, more and more data points. And then here came the acquisition by HPE. And then those numbers really started to go up, because within 6 months after the acquisition of HPE, Nimble by HPE, it's like that, HPE added Tripar in InfoSight. And then they added Primera in InfoSight. And the end of 2019, they added ProLiant servers in InfoSight, and they added SimpliVity in InfoSight, and almost everything that is running an ILO. So almost any server today from HPE that has an ILO is now sending back that telemetry data, because we're talking about performance, about telemetry data. And the more data that we put in the database, the more experience, the more insights that we have about good things, but also about bad things, of course. And on those bad things, we're gonna give you that predictive support as well. Yeah, as you can see, they were calculating how many hours that they saved already with the predictive analytics. And what is a cool thing as well for a demo is that recommendation engine, because recently they added that recommendation engine first as a beta under the labs view. But now in 2020, it became really in production. So there is now a recommendation engine, just like Waze is doing. Now you will get those recommendations directly when you log in InfoSight. And he will tell you that server doesn't have enough this, or that storage device has too much of this, or not enough of this. And so they're going to give you those recommendations. Hey, there is a firmware update, which is patching that mission critical thingy, right? Can't imagine in the past how much time I had to go to the HPE website to find the latest. Is there an update for my Tripar? Is this supported? Yes or no? Because it doesn't mean that if there's an update that it applies, that it solves a problem of my Tripar, right? And I had to look it up all myself in the release notes. Well, InfoSight will tell me, hey, Bart, you need to update because this and this and this is being solved. Yeah, it will make your life easier. There's one competitor, we're going to talk about it at the end of the presentation. They are proud to say, hey, we managed to get with all our storage products, it's a storage company, and with all our storage product, we started to have, we passed the 1 trillion data points, which is insane, right? 1 trillion data points. I'm sorry, guys, we have already, that was in 2019, 1,250 trillion. And that number is going up and up and up because, by the way, you are measuring only your storage while we are measuring all our storage platforms, not just that one. And we are also measuring all our servers being connected to that storage. And by the way, you are not measuring the servers. We are taking into account the servers as well, thanks to the cross-stack analytics. So they are intelligent. We are way more intelligent. And so we can give you better recommendations. Why these recommendations? Well, it's all about what's the value, because I can keep on talking about that intelligence. I'm going to stop here. Why? Well, there you go. We're going to optimize your experience. We're going to give you a better AI-driven operations. It's all about improving the performance. It's about optimizing the available resources. And of course, also, it's got to be simple. Please, it's already complex enough. It's got to be simple about planning, of course. I give you here 3 practical questions that I get from my customers. Hey, Bart, can you help me, for instance, with I'm sorry for that incoming call that wasn't on silence. I'm sorry for that. I was saying that, for instance, wouldn't it be cool that your environment is telling you in advance, hey, by the way, you created 2 volumes, and those 2 volumes, 1 terabyte, 1 terabyte, you have 10 VMs on there, 10 VMs on there. That's nice load balancing, right? 10 and 10, 1 terabyte, 1 terabyte. That is okay. But What you may not know is that here, those 10 VMs are all lightweight, little application VMs on there, while on this one here, there's that really big Oracle, SQL, whatever, something database running that is consuming a lot of resources, for instance, bandwidth, or raising the latency of your storage network, impacting, of course, that other volume. Wouldn't it be cool that your environment tells you, we have those two volumes, or maybe you should move workloads, or you have to apply quality of service, because on a Nimble, for instance, and on Primera, on most of the storage arrays today, you can activate, you can enable quality of service to say, hey, this volume needs more resources. Well, he will get more resources. Just like you can do, by the way, on VMware, you can work with those shares to give more CPU shares and more memory shares to one VM compared to another one. Well, you can do that on storage as well. The only thing is, you have to think about this. You have to do all the math. Yeah? Nope. InfoSight will tell you, you will get an answer. This is one of the practical examples of InfoSight telling you maybe you should enable quality of service. Or maybe talking about those virtual machines. I have two servers, host 1 and host 2, with those 10 VMs. And those 10 VMs, back again, same example, all the heavy VMs are running on host 2. Well, at that moment, you will get an alert that from InfoSight that says maybe it's better to move VM3 to another host, because that one host where it's running now, it's oversubscribed. Now you can do this, by the way, VMware can do this, but for that you need DRS, and you need to configure DRS in a manual or a semi-automatic or in an automatic way. But anyway, you can tweak those parameters. With InfoSight, you don't have to do anything. You don't even need DRS, okay, because DRS is automating it. But now InfoSight will tell you that VM, he's abusing your environment, he's a troublemaker, yeah, he's the noisy neighbor, maybe move it to somewhere else. Or capacity planning, yeah, that's a funny exercise. A customer today has 7 terabyte and he's buying a new infrastructure for the upcoming 5 years. How much do we take into account? 10%? Yeah, per year or for 5 years? I'm not sure about that. Yeah, well, InfoSight will tell you as well to say, Mr. Customer, if you keep on going like this, generating data, putting data on this storage platform, well, at that moment, by July 15th, you will need to add additional capacity, because at that moment you will arrive at 90 or 95% of at a threshold where you might have a performance impact. Okay, so InfoSight, also the salesperson. So if there are salespeople in my training here, well, at that moment, also the salespeople can get valuable information from InfoSight. Just take a look at the current environment and they will tell you what you need to sell. Okay, or for the technical people as well, I have plenty of examples, because these are 3 important ones in that performance and that optimization of resource, which is an efficiency thing, of course, and also about infrastructure planning to make your life easier. But I have 50 other examples. Believe me, about InfoSight, I have too many slides. I just made a collection of the most important slides because there's too much information. Another practical example is, yeah, you know, all those monitoring tools. I don't say that those monitoring tools are bad. First of all, you have to configure them. Yeah, because what is high, what is low, what is an average? And then you see those graphs about, yeah, hey, that's a peak. Yeah, probably this is not good, but maybe it is just a peak. But hold on, you have set that monitoring to, let's say I want an alert if that peak goes above, I'm saying just something 100. Let it be 100 milliseconds or microseconds, it's not important. You have to set it above 100. That is not okay. But watch out. Your average, your daily average for months already is between 10 and 20. And now between 10 and 20, and now for some kind of reason, it goes up to 50 or 60. Even that 60 is not normal, because the last month it was always 10 and 20. So there you go. Now that peak here may be not enough, but there's another parameter that is beyond what is not normal. Well, there at that moment, InfoSight will tell you as well, watch out. We always have between 10 and 20. Now it is 40 or 50 or 60, which is not the 100 that you defined. Well, even then with 60, this is considered as being not normal. And at that moment, you will get an alert from InfoSight since it's not normal. Because this is what's happening most of the time. We call it alarm fatigue. Yeah. Oh yeah, oh, my monitoring tool is back again in red. You know what? We're going to put that threshold a little bit higher because we get too much alarms. Well, with the intelligence, the artificial intelligence from InfoSight, there's nothing to configure. There's nothing to set. You just have to enable it. There's no tweaking. There's no fine tuning. There are no parameters that you can change on InfoSight, but he will learn from you, but also from all the thousands of other environments out there. They will know this is acceptable, this is normal, this is not acceptable, this is not normal. So back again, it will enhance the IT operations of your environment. And there you can see, for instance, there was a high latency, but the impact was really low because there was no workload. But here it's just the latency went up just a little bit. But since it was a Monday morning and everyone was logging on and there was a lot of data utilization, at that moment there was a high impact. Well, your traditional monitoring tool, not smart monitoring tool, didn't capture this problem. But in reality, users were complaining. And so it keeps on going because, like I said, we can see everything. From storage, we can see the network, we can see the compute, we can see the hypervisor on top of it with the VMs and the containers and the databases. And yes, we have integration with VMware, with Microsoft, with Docker to get that cross-stack or full stack analytics for your environments. Now, initially it was VMware only, but hooray, also last year wasn't a fantastic year, but at least for InfoSight was some kind of a good year because also last year we finally got also full stack analytics for Hyper-V, so for Windows environments as well. And like I just said, we have those top performing VMs, we have inactive VMs, the latency end-to-end to do that root cause analysis across the storage, the network, and the compute. We have the noisy neighbors, and we have the analytics from host and memory, which, by the way, VMware is doing as well. But now you can see it in one screen. If you want to have this information, you have to go to multiple screens inside your vSphere console, which I like a lot. But honestly, to do root cause analysis, I prefer to use InfoSight because I have to do less clicks to find the real root cause. This is another example of diagnosis where you can see, hey, there's that peak, the latency went up. But then the challenge is, yeah, I saw that peak in my monitoring tool. There was a problem. But who was it? Well, here, this is a picture from InfoSight VM Vision, where we can see using those colors. Okay, I saw something around 28, 29 September. The green is storage. And so here the latency went up a little bit on the storage. Yeah, the latency went up on the network as well for that time. But there was a peak on the host as well. So we can see by using those colors, we can really see in the graphs, we can see the separation of that latency about the host latency, the network latency, and the average storage latency. Why is that important? Because you can always blame the network, or as usual, you can always blame the storage. But at the end, at this moment in time, if someone was complaining, there was apparently something with that host happening. I don't know what. I have to click on it because when I click on it, I am redirected to another screen of that host, and then I can drill down up to the minute. I can drill down completely in that platform of what was really the cause of that host. It can be CPU, it can be memory, it can be the network to the outside, from the network interface to the outside, and so on and so on. So you can always drill down, because by the way, I didn't mention it yet, InfoSight, it's a website. It's running in the cloud. So it's a portal in the cloud. It's very simple, infosight.hpe.com. You log on and there you go. I have multiple screenshots, and if you want a demo as well, we can arrange that demo for you. If we maybe have the time in this presentation, maybe I can organize this as well at the end of the presentation. More screenshots, because a live demo is really cool, but then oh yeah, I have seen that. No, you will get a copy of the presentation. This is how it looks like. One of the screens that I like is the VM density. Okay, this is now the density screen for IO and latency. And normally where you're gonna take a look at, the big squares, because the big squares or rectangular forms, those are the abusers, right? Well, not always. The size of the block is indeed the size of the capacity that it's using, but it's the color that defines the latency. And it's not always the biggest that is the abuser. Apparently here I have a little VM called VDI21 and even a smaller one called VDI38 that apparently is generating much more latency compared to the other VMs. Right? That really big one, 563, for instance, it has a light color. So that means that he's generating less, or he has an impact of less latency, right? So also to learn InfoSight, it's very simple. Yeah, just sometimes it's red, sometimes it's green, sometimes it's blue, depending on which resource that you are checking out here. But at the end, the darker the color, the worse it is. Yeah, you just have to look for those dark colors, and then automatically when you click on it, you hover your mouse on top of it, you get that pop-up with the numbers, and so really easy you can compare as well, right? Practical examples, CPU overutilization. So a customer where the impact was huge because they saved a lot of money because there was apparently unnecessary storage spending. By the way, all this information is available in the white paper. So from existing customer reference cases where we can show that this, by the way, was a hospital in Switzerland that saved a lot of money just by eliminating badly sized and badly created VDI virtual machines. And so there was way too much IO contention. And so in that tree map that I just showed you, they could find out all those VMs abusing the system. By eliminating those few VMs, they saved a lot of money. Yeah. By moving them. Other practical examples about that guesswork in the capacity and the resource planning as well. Well, there you go. You can see here, there are multiple graphs available where you can see, for instance, with this nimble array, this is a screenshot of a nimble array. Well, if you keep on going like this, well, I suggest that you're going to upgrade your nimble 3000 to a 5000 or to a 7000. So you get those instant recommendations. Now, this is directly to change a controller because of performance bottlenecks as well. This can be as well capacity. This can be networking. Maybe they will say, maybe you need to add from 2 times 10 gigabit to 4 times 10 gigabit or something like that, or add more CPUs or add more memory. Yeah. If you see those questions, what upgrades do I need when I'm going to run out of this capacity? What if I run these applications on the same array? What if I have 100 users now, but for some kind of reason now I need 180 users? Will it work, yes or no? Well, all that guesswork in resource planning, you can do it with InfoSight. InfoSight will tell you. Okay, and this is finally then an overview of the general picture of InfoSight. Like I said, the customer portal is just a minor thing. Okay, it's just a portal with a lot of information, and it will give you recommendations. It has a few dashboards, for servers and storage and networking, and there's a reseller dashboard and so on. And there's a dashboard for IT people, technical people. There's also for executive people with a lot of colors in there and so on. But it's just dashboards. It's just those visualizations. But in the backend, there is so much happening. Like there is that learning, the machine learning, it's working with blacklisting and whitelisting. Is that analytics permanently being tweaked. Case automation is coming now more and more because there was case automation from Nimble already and now Primera, but the case automation is happening everywhere. And recently they added effectively, you can open up support cases just for a ProLiant server as well from within InfoSight. Yeah, and so by the way, InfoSight, we're not talking about InfoSight 2.1 and then one day 2.2 is coming. Nope, almost every 2 weeks there are updates on InfoSight. When I log on to InfoSight, I always get, hey, there's something new. Hey, there's something new. We added this, we added that. Yeah, so it's permanently changing. It's becoming smarter and smarter. And like I said, this is one of the key points why InfoSight is so important, because it's everywhere. If I take a look at the competition, yep, it's a storage company and they have Meta One as their intelligence on top of their storage platform. Yeah, and there's another competitor who is known for their servers and storage, and even they have a hypervisor as well. Yeah, those ones, they call it ActiveIQ, but even then, they just have it on their storage. Strangely enough, they have a hypervisor, the most popular hypervisor in the world, but they don't share those analytics information with them. Probably yet. One day it will come, but they're still fighting who is owner of who. But anyway, we are proud to say that it's on Nimble, it's on Tripar, it's on Primera, it's on barely all HPE servers, it's on Synergy, it's on Simplivity, and it's on DHCI, which is the hyper-converged version of Nimble in combination with ProLiant servers. Almost everywhere it's growing. Probably there will be a question popping up if the question is not there yet in the Q&A, because yes, you can ask questions in the Q&A if you want, or otherwise at the end of the session. But anyway, there's always a question about MSA. What about MSA? Well, MSA, they're working on it. It's coming. I can't say if it's in 2 months or 4 months or 6 months or in 1 year. Not sure about that, but now with MSA Generation 6, they started already to put some intelligence, first of all, inside the box. And once that they collected information, because first you got to become smart by collecting information. And at one moment in time, we'll see when, you will hear it first from us. But once that MSA is in there, you will hear it from us. But one day, probably, I assume that MSA will come into InfoSight as well. Okay, good. That's the most important thing, because now I'm going to give you a lot of information practically. First of all, servers. How does it look like for servers? Well, it's very simple technically to put InfoSight for those servers. Because what not everyone maybe knew is that all servers from Gen 8 on, so Gen 8, that's already 5, almost 6 years old, with ILO 4. Okay, there is a functionality called AHS, Active Health System. It's like the black box in a plane. It's collecting all that data, and it collected that data locally. And then if you open up a support case, well, then that support guy, he called you to say, hey, please send me the AHS log file in the zip file, and then I can analyze everything. Well, now what they did is they just needed the software. Today, it's happening through ILO Amplifier Pack. That is a collector of all that data of AHS files. And now information coming from the ILO, and of course with ILO 5 and Gen 10 as well, of course, all that data is being used by InfoSight. So there you go. Gen 8, Gen 9, Gen 10 servers with ILO 4 and ILO 5 as such are supported, also Apollo, by the way, and not only ProLiant, to send that information into InfoSight. Today, yes, we still need ILO Amplifier Pack. We'll see in the future how it will, maybe it might change, but today this is how it works. But that we didn't rewrite all the code in a ProLiant server. It's not necessary. The data was already there. We just had to find a solution to put that data in that really big cloud database of InfoSight. Yeah, it's a big Vertica online database. And these numbers, of course, are not shared. It's not allowed to set this, is to say this in public, but apparently the InfoSight database is in the top 10 of the world's biggest databases. Okay. It's a company called Vertica, really big databases. Also, all the big companies like Coca-Cola and all the airplane companies are using that smart database, Vertica database, because they have a lot of intelligence already in there as well. All the algorithms, for instance, also to calculate which plane needs to leave where and then go there and there and there to take all those smart decisions. Well, also InfoSight is in the top 10 of the biggest databases, and we keep on putting data in there. Don't worry, it's in the cloud. It is scalable. It is flexible. And so HSS from the servers through the ILO amplifier pack, which is a little, it's a free tool, by the way. It's just a little virtual machine that you need to deploy somewhere on any hypervisor. It collects all the data, and then it acts as an aggregator to send all the data to the InfoSight database. By the way, there's a getting started guide that is available if you want to get started with this. So if you cannot find it yet, please let me know. Just Google it. You will find it anyway. Okay. There are some FAQs because I get often questions about all this. This is why I put this in the presentation as well. You can find it in that configuration guide, by the way, as well. But it's fairly simple to get started. You just got to log on to infosight.hpe.com. You log on with your HPE passport, which is the same account as you're using to log on to the partner portal. And then you see storage, hyperconverged, servers, and then on servers, and then there is support help. Yeah, and then you go in there and you get all the information of how to get started. By the way, if you go to my blog, bitcoin.be, there's also plenty of information as well about the ILO amplifier pack, about InfoSight, and how to set it up. Okay, so what do we have for servers today? Because we just got started, it's just there for 1.5 years now, but there is already predictive analytics. There is the global learning from all the servers, and there's also already that improved support because now the HHS file is automatically sent to HPE support. You don't have to send it themselves. And there's also that case creation, which is today manual. You will see in the near future as well that also InfoSight will create automatic support cases for your servers, just like it is doing for storage today already. But for that, we just need a little bit more intelligence, of course. Hey, there are screenshots. This is how it looks like. So you get those donuts, keep them green. Of course, when you click on that red, then you can see that there are some critical issues. I love this customer because apparently he has 1,357 servers. Yeah. In this environment. And then you can see here how many issues with fans, with power supplies, with storage that he has. The connectivity, which is good or wrong. Green is okay, yellow is not so good, orange is worse, and red is critical, of course. And then you get these recommendations, okay? Apparently in one server CZ39, whatever, something, apparently there is a dip switch on the motherboard where the ILO security override is on. So that means that on that ILO, everyone can log on. So they're not asking for a password. If I have access to the ILO of that server, I can do nasty things with that server. So this is a recommendation with a caution, orange, yellow warning to say that, hey guys, watch out, this is not good. Another server, it's just informational, but on that server XL270B, whatever something, there is a recommendation about the firmware that needs to be updated. And on another server, CZ39 something, there's a security status risk as well discovered on the ILO. And so you can just click on it and get the recommendations on there. How cool is that? Like I said, AI-driven operations. All those operations, which are normally manual tasks, and I know a lot of companies who are sending their engineers every 3, every 6, every 12 months to do an assessment from their customer. And then they have that complete checklist, do this, do that, go validate that everything is green and so on, and make screenshots. Well, that's a really cool thing. You still can do this, but guys, I'm sorry, it's 2021 today. Automate this. InfoSight will do it for you. You don't have to go to that customer. You can see this from your site where you're working at home, right? Because it's just a cloud portal. SimpliVity, hyper-converged. Well, what I told you, exactly the same, because what is SimpliVity? It is a ProLiant server with a hypervisor on it and then some SimpliVity magic software on there. Well, from SimpliVity 3.7.8 on, which is, by the way, already quite old, because today we are already running 4.0.1, 4.1 that is coming soon. Well, initially there was a ET phone home functionality within SimpliVity called OmniWatch. And OmniWatch was collecting data from SimpliVity and sending it to a OmniWatch database, and then the SimpliVity engineers, they could take a look at it. Well, now all this information is being sent not only to OmniWatch, but now is also sent to InfoSight. You just need 378 or higher, and then all the information arrives in InfoSight as well. And then you get the same experience. Now, I've put the pictures in here for your information. How does it look like? Back again, how to configure it. You just go to the InfoSight page. At the top, there is that thing function called device enrollment, and it always works with tokens. Also for your TripR, also for your InfoSight, also for your ILO amplifier packet. It works with a token, and you just have to copy paste that token inside, in this case, OmniWatch. And at that moment, he will start to exchange the information. So there is that collection agent, because this is a question that I still got even, when was it? I think yesterday, someone asked me about, hey, SimpliVity, do you also need ILO amplifier pack since it's a ProLiant server? Well, no. If it's a ProLiant server, you need ILO amplifier pack. If it's SimpliVity, you don't need ILO amplifier pack, because the collector agent from SimpliVity is sending that data. Of course, it's all encrypted. It's all secure traffic, of course, to infosight.hpe.com. And these are just a few pictures, because like I said, every month there are new views, new dashboards, new pages that are being added. But now what do we see? We get a general overview of all your clusters, all the hosts in the clusters, all the storage behind the hosts in those clusters. You can see the utilization. You can see, yeah, you get a nice screen as well about the deduplication, about the compression, about the efficiency of your environment. All your VMs, you can see, are they protected locally somewhere else? The wellness view will give you an overview of all the support cases that are being created, yes or no. So just for your information, because yes, you will get a copy of the slide deck, I added all these pictures for you in here, just ever as a reference. If you want to see it live, please just call me and we'll arrange a virtual call today, or yeah, not today, but one of the upcoming days, and then I will show this to you. Okay. Now, I get a question, by the way, live. Very good question. Where is the data of InfoSight stored geographically? Well, geographically, first of all, the data, it's, by the way, InfoSight is running in the public cloud. It's running at Azure. Okay, now this is completely done by HPE, so honestly, it's not important if it's running at Azure. I'm sorry, at Amazon. But it's not important if it's running at Amazon or Azure or whatever something, because it's just a cloud platform. Okay, you don't even have to pay for it. Now, geographically, most of the data is in the US. Okay, as far as I know, yes, it is in the US. Now, is this an issue? As such, it's not an issue, because is there, you're thinking probably about GDPR and so on, sensitivity of data. There is no user data within InfoSight. The only thing that you see here is serial numbers, server names, server products. Now we see the server name and we see the cluster name from VMware. But by the way, VMware can see that as well. So those things we can see, because it's a little bit stupid if you are doing a troubleshooting of a server and we have to tell you, yeah, we're not allowed to know the name. So this is the IP address, or even worse, this is the MAC address of the server. That is the noisy neighbor. Yeah. But that's the only thing that we can see, because all the other data is telemetry data. It's performance data. It's not user data. It's telemetry data. Okay. from your infrastructure. By the way, this performance data is also captured by third-party other tools, of course. But let it be clear, there's no user data as such. Okay, so for InfoSight, we don't need access to your Active Directory and so on. When you enable InfoSight, the only access that we need is to your vCenter, because it's at vCenter that we're going to collect performance data. All the APIs, these are known APIs from VMware. So also to enable InfoSight, you don't have to install anything on VMware. It's not that you need a special version of VMware to support InfoSight, because we're just using the performance APIs from VMware itself, right? A very good question, by the way. Yeah. So we get the data center view. Now, this is a really great customer with multiple data centers. Then we see one or multiple clusters in there. You can see the space utilization, effective utilization, the logic utilization. You can see then also the efficiency numbers. These are those donuts, those circles within the simplicity console. So you can see the compression, the deduplication, and then the complete efficiency and all the savings as well. The more sites, the more clusters, the more simplicities that you have, the more information, of course, that you get here. This is then the hosts view. So here you can see your clusters with all the simplicity hosts in there, with the VMware version, the software version, if there is a support entitlement, yes or no. And then when you click on it, you get, of course, more in-depth information about, for instance, the virtual machines and so on as well. Now, if we're going to take a look at those analytics, well, this is just a picture of the utilization of the capacity. And at one moment in time, I don't know what happened, but apparently on the local cluster, the data went up. And if the data went up, of course, most of the time, then of course, yeah, the backup goes up. And also in the remote cluster, also there was some data generated, probably because there were more backups that were being created locally, but then also being sent to the remote site. Now, which data is it? I just can click on here and I can drill down up to the minute. I can drill down and see what happened, which data was being generated. So more pictures. Here you can see, this is a lovely picture here. I challenge you with other applications if you can see this, but here you can see in the last 30, 60, and 90 days, the growth of your data. Yeah, so you can really see per week if it's nicely going up, or at 1 week in those last 60 days, in the last, yeah, in between the 30th and the 60th day, there's a 23% growth, which is quite a lot. And which is also strange because between day 60 and day 90, there was only a 2% growth. So I should focus between that 30th and that 60th day. Mr. Customer, always be informed. Okay, by the way, the data is there. You just have to go to the InfoSight portal. This is a picture of the total space, the red line, and the actual usage. And am I worried? No, I'm not worried at all, because I'm still quite okay. But now with the analytics, he will calculate, if you keep on going like that after the 25th, well, he will tell you, if you keep on going like this, probably in 9 months, between 9 months and a year, probably you will hit your maximum. Yeah, it's automatically done. You don't have to do anything. The information is there. If you're going to take a look at the cross-stack analytics, one picture where you can see all your VMs, logical space, the number of backups that you have, local backups, remote backups, and also the IOPS. So here already you can see who is the user and who is the abuser of your storage environment. But by the way, if you click down, there are multi drop-down boxes where you can change the view. For instance, this is the view then from the top 10 of virtual machines. It's not always the biggest virtual machine, because I have here that Windows 2016 clone, which is using a lot of terabytes, but apparently it's not in the top 10 of the VMs who is generating IOPS, because at that moment it's another VM apparently that is generating a lot of IOPS, but it's not because it's a small, here it's just the 6th or the 7th VM on capacity, but he's generating the most of the IOPS. Okay, so there, really quickly, I can see who is the user, who is the abuser of the environment. There are plenty of wellness views as well. Like I said, how good is it going with your environment? Yeah. And then he will create automatically those support cases. You can follow up the support cases from your environment, if it was opened, if it was closed, and so on and so on. Yeah. And the best experience, it's not even with ProLiant servers and with SimpliVity, because their InfoSight is just there for you 1 year, 1.5 years. We're still learning. We're still adding that information. The best experience you're going to have with Nimble. Why is that? Because with Nimble, we have InfoSight already for 10 years, a little bit more than 10 years that we're collecting all that data, right? So there you go. If you go take a look in the dashboards, you will see that for Nimble, we have the most dashboards already about operational and the recommendations and the executive and the wellness and the capacity and some more labs in there as well. While with SimpliVity and with servers, you see that the dashboards, they're still coming. Yeah, but we have more views with Nimble, with those live recommendations since a few, I think since 2 months, it was the end of last year somewhere, where they activated in productions those recommendations. So it's a new dashboard. Yeah, where you go, and there you can see on Nimble level, on server level, and also on VM and on data store level. So everywhere you get these recommendations. Whoops, on this VM, I see an elevated latency, or I see an iSCSI error that is maybe generating performance issues on that data store, and you see directly the name of the data store. Right? So there you go. You just have to take a look at all those dashboards. And if I have to show you all those dashboards, I need already at least 1 hour. Yeah. I get a question. Can InfoSight send warnings if there are problems, for example, by email? Well, yes and no, because most of the time it will try to solve the issue by itself. And there is, by the way, as well, it depends, not by email today, but there's an application. So there's an app as well that you can install on your smartphone, and then you will get some alerts, not all alerts. Yeah, they're still working on it. And hey, believe me, there is a roadmap on InfoSight. InfoSight is not finished, so there's an extended roadmap as well about alerting. But today, believe me, there are so many. There can be so many alerts. Today, no. The short answer is no. There is no email alerting available today. What doesn't mean that you cannot get that information, because yeah, you can easily open up that console. You have that application on your smartphone, and by the way, there is an API. So there is an API available as well that you can say, hey, please, I have a third-party tool, whatever, something, and I'm going to use those APIs. It's a RESTful API. It's completely documented on the InfoSight website under documentation. Here at the top, resources, and then under resources, you will find all the information, for instance, how to connect through those APIs as well to InfoSight. And hey, I'll put, this is a good question, by the way. I'm going to put it on my list to put it on the roadmap. You never know that it might come. Now, as you can see, multiple drop-down boxes. You can take a look. If I'm a storage guy, I'm going to look at storage-related alerts. If I'm a server guy, I'm going to take a look at server-related alerts. So also there, it is multi-tenant. You can create multiple accounts and then change the views depending of who you are responsible for, if you're the server or the storage or the network or the hypervisor guy. Also, those recommendations, of course, you can snooze them. You can tweak them as well of what you want to see, if this is okay, if this is accepted or not accepted. More pictures, like I said, with the VM recommendations. So with a virtual machine, when you click on a virtual machine, you get those typical graphs about the performance and the latency and the IOPS of the last day and the last week and the last month and so on. But now at the right, also there per VM, you get one or multiple recommendations. Yeah, there's even one here, an elevated latency here, where you get a few recommendations. And then it's up to you to do something with it, yes or no. So you get those pop-ups, you just click on it, you get all the information by default in here. Did you had to do something for this? Did you have to upgrade InfoSight? No, it was one day, bang, it was there. You logged on to InfoSight and bang, you get those recommendations in there with all the Nimble arrays, because of Nimble is already collecting for 10 years this data. We get the most of the data out of a Nimble, and at that moment we can give you the best predictive analytics as well. So I added some more pictures since you get a copy of the presentation. It gives you an idea of, yeah, you can show this to your customer, or you can give a live demo. Of course, I know multiple HPE partners today. They already have customers meanwhile with a Nimble or with SimpliVity. And once that you have one of those systems active, you can log on with your account and you can show this to your potential customers as well. At one moment in time, I had an HPE partner that called me, hey, I have a problem with performance. Case is still ongoing. Do you want to help me? Do you want to take a look at it? They just gave me access to their InfoSight portal with my HPE Passport account, and I could take a look at their customer environment. I could not see any user data. I could see only the servers and the Nimble array. And at that moment, I could tell them, maybe do this, maybe do that. Hey, I didn't need physical access anyway. Yeah. So we have those operational dashboards. Like I said, the darker the color, the worse it is. The lighter, the better. I have my top VMs, I have my systems. As long as there is nothing red in here, I am really okay. As long as that protection is at 100%, I am okay. And there are those recommendations. The only recommendation that I can give is keep that recommendation list empty, because at that moment you're doing a good job. Everything is running fine, of course, right? So also there, unaligned IO, apparently 8K blocks, which is not aligned with the underlying file system. Also back again, other latencies, snapshots that are not being deleted after a certain amount of time, and so on and so on. And they're consuming capacity. And of course, they're generating performance impact as well. Important one, I know multiple companies are waiting for this one. Under virtualization in the menu, we had VMware. Well, now we have also Hyper-V. And so there as well, we can see now clusters, we can see the host, we can see the storage, and we can see the VMs as well. What you need to do for that, well, it works as well with the so-called collector agent. So this is the complete picture at the end. So there is that collector agent, which needs to be installed somewhere. And then you will discover, you will register your storage array, you will register that agent will connect with the hypervisor host. He will collect all the performance information from all your one or multiple clusters. And then it's the Nimble array. Yeah, because it's just a collector agent that sends the information to the Nimble array. And it's the Nimble array that has connectivity that will push all the information to InfoSight. Okay. So this is how it works. Back again, it's free. You just have to download that collector agent from infosight.hpe.com, install it. There's a PDF that explains it. It's fairly easy. And then you exchange all that information. And also there, of course, once that the information is in the database, you get all those recommendations. Also, for instance, on performance, this is Nimble related. Also, those read cache misses, unaligned IO, all valuable information that will help you to tweak your environment in a proactive way. Okay, the problem is not there yet. In this environment, look, in this environment, there's nothing red. Everything is below the thresholds. Everything is okay. But even then, there are some recommendations already. Yeah, proactive recommendations before the issue occurs, just like Waze, for instance, is doing. Okay, hey, I found some data with low compressibility, so maybe consider disabling compression on that volume, because of course compression, there is a minor, really tiny, but there is a performance impact. Yeah. And so there you go, you get a lot of this information. Read cache misses. Maybe we should increase a little bit the SSD cache from that Nimble array, or enable quality of services and so on. Okay, all the information is there. Just use it. Okay, it's all free recommendations that InfoSight is giving you, and you can give this to your end customer, of course, giving you a much better experience, right? Now, like I said, 6 months after the acquisition of Nimble, HPE already added InfoSight on TripR, and now with Primera as well. From day one, Primera, when you install Primera, you need to create that connection with InfoSight. And even there already, take a look at those numbers. By the way, these are the last numbers that I found of somewhere the last half of 2020. But today, we even have more systems from TripR already sending that telemetry data. Yeah, a lot of TripRs, a lot of hosts, a lot of data stores, a lot of virtual machines for TripR only. Okay, Nimble is more, InfoSight is catching, SimpliVity is catching up as well. Cases being opened, cases being closed, proactive interventions before there was a problem seen by the customer on the TripR. HPE could do preventive measures already on those TripR systems. For TripR, it was somewhere last year already, but there is that new user interface with more information. It looks like Nimble with direct view on the hardware status, which version that is running on the TripR, and so on and so on. Now for Primera, by the way, it looks almost exactly the same. And then when you scroll down, you will get per system, per array, per TripR, per Primera, you get all those boxes that you can select about the performance and the insights and the details and some more information and historics, alerting, support cases that are created, and so on and so on. So everything is back again in one console. When until a few months ago, I had a TripR system in my garage, in my home lab environment. Now it's changed by Nimble, but my experience is exactly the same. Until before InfoSight, I had to connect locally on that management platform of that TripR, being SSMC, and then also on Nimble. But with InfoSight, I never connect to that environment, like with InfoSight, like with that banking experience as well. A long time ago, I had to go to the bank to do everything. Today, with those new style of apps, hey, I do everything now on my smartphone. Well, here as well, to see my storage environment, I don't have to go to that storage system anymore because I can see everything in that cloud-based platform. The only reason why I want to go to the local on-premises management platform is to create a volume and connect it to my servers. That's it. All the rest is done in InfoSight. And InfoSight, I can do it from everywhere. When I'm on holiday, I'm not allowed to go to a sunny beach, I don't know where in Europe or even further away. I'm not allowed to go there today. But even then, if I would have been on a sunny beach somewhere at the other side of the world, if I had internet connectivity and a laptop or a smart device, I could check from all my customers, because by the way, you'll see that in a minute, but for you being an HPE reseller, there is a reseller dashboard. So if you have 10 customers with 10 Nimbles, you get one dashboard with all your 10 customers with all the 10 Nimbles, and in one view, or 10 TripRs or 10 Primeras or 10 SimpliVities, whatever. Yeah, but in one view, you as a reseller, as an HP partner, you can see all your customers in one dashboard, and you can see directly if there are recommendations, if everything is okay, if there are no support cases opened, if there are no expired support contracts, and so on. In one view, in InfoSight, you can get that overall dashboard as well, which is also an added value, not only for your customer, but also for you, being the HPE partner. It is a multi-tenant environment. I added more pictures because you get that copy of the presentation. So it gives you an idea of how many information that you can find in there. And like I said, it's every month, every few weeks, they are adding more pictures, more screens. So there you go, back again on this environment. Here on the performance, in just one screen, you can see all the performance information, that you might expect just in one screen, just in one view. And then if you want to scroll down, oops, there is something in red. You just click on it. You pull that line and you drill down up to the minute. You can see here, because here you see that hotspot by latency, and then you can see which VM at that moment in time, which VM was abusing your environment, because this is one challenge. Today I have 10 VMs and 10 VMs. During the weekend, you do some vMotions, and then those VMs are changed. No, InfoSight knows perfectly which VM was running on which host 3 months ago. He knows this. Okay, and so he knows 3 months ago why there was that problem. Yeah, because at that moment that VM was there and now it was moved to somewhere else, and maybe the problem was solved, or maybe the problem moved to the other server. So these are all things that you can see. Okay. um I'm gonna keep that question for the end. Since it's not directly related to this one, I'll keep that one until the end. We're almost through. I give you some more pictures because, like I said, also for Tripwire and Primera, you have to make a connection as well. So you're using here that HPE passport ID and password, and then you can get access to InfoSight and gain insights. And then you get all these kind of pictures, because also for Tripwire you needed a certain version of the service processor. And so the ET phone home functionality of Tripwire, there is a service processor that needed to have a certain version, and then you can enable that phone home functionality. For Primera, it is by default built in, so there is no service processor as such, it's in the hardware, and so there is a direct connection with InfoSight as well. Like I said, we're almost there. For you, for HPE partners, for resellers, I found this a really interesting document. By the way, it's on CRN, Consumer Report Network, which is a popular website in the US as well, where there was a document about storage GM Tom Black, who had an interview with that website, and he said, we see InfoSight as a sales tool, because it's not a product that you can sell because it's for free. It's integrated in the HPE products, but use InfoSight as a sales tool. Okay. And by the way, if I'm supporting you and I'm going to your customers to present an HPE solution, I always reference InfoSight. Why? Because we have it, and the others, yeah, they start to have it now, but they don't have the intelligence. They just have a small database. There's one company that is proud that they have 1 trillion data points. I'm sorry, we already have more than 1,500 trillion data points. We're much smarter. We give you much more information. Ask them for a competitive demo of their intelligence. How intelligent are they? We can show a lot of things in InfoSight. It's a real product. It's solid. Yeah, it's not GA. It's not a new product. We're proud of it. Just show it, of course, to your customers. So, and that's the whole idea. I have practical examples where I won a deal thanks to InfoSight. Not thanks to the fantastic product of Nimble and Primera and ProLiant. It helped, but we won a deal thanks to InfoSight, because what we have shown there has proven the added value of InfoSight to help the IT operations, to make the IT operations easier, simpler for that customer. Yeah, and it's integrated. Yeah, it's for free. There are no InfoSight licenses. As long as you have support on your ProLiant server and your Nimble and your Primera and your Simplicity, InfoSight is there. Challenge the others as well. There are some companies who are asking money for their IQ. Yeah, not here. Okay, so you can close bigger deals because it's everywhere. Maybe they said, I want to buy HP storage with another brand of servers. No problem, you can do that. But if you put ProLiant on there, then you get InfoSight everywhere. You get a better experience. Bang, there you go. I just sold HP servers instead of another brand of servers. We can close deals faster because they will be convinced. And by the way, the lifetime value as well, once that they have InfoSight, I am quite sure that in 5 years that they will keep on going with HPE solutions, because InfoSight will tell you, just do this, add disks, upgrade the controller, update this, update that. You get a much better experience. So people will love the HPE ecosystem, right? So there you go. This is how it looks like, by the way, with that reseller dashboard. In the past, you had to create multiple organizations, and then all your customers, they were all those separate organizations. And honestly, we didn't like that. So this is why now, by the way, this is since last September or something like that. So it's already a few months available. But now under your dashboards, there is a reseller dashboard available where now you can see all those nimble arrays from all your customers just in one picture. So there you go. This is, yeah, it's a big HPE partner with a lot of nimble arrays, but now just in one view, you can see here all the nimble arrays with the capacity and the support and date, and if the hardware, if there are recommendations, yes or no, and just, hey, every information is just one click away. You click on this yes, and you will get directly the hardware recommendations for that nimble array of that customer. Yeah. So there you go. So you get those recommendations by default in there as well. This is also added somewhere the last half of last year. More options. You can transfer the support to the customer who is the owner of the array, and then who is the primary contact of support as well. So you can move it from one to the other organization. This is just how it looks like. There is a little procedure as well. And then finally, yeah, what's next with InfoSight? It never stops. It's like self-driving cars, it's like robots, it's like those drones who are doing more and more things for us. So all that AI will keep on becoming more and more smarter and giving you more recommendations. So we did learn already. Yeah. So now there are those recommendations, there are those predictions available today for servers, for storage. Yeah. The next step will be acting. Okay. The autonomous data center, like the self-driving car. Yep. There will be a self-driving, a self-managing data center one day, because that's the whole idea with all the real-time data, with the learning, not from you, but from all those other HPE systems worldwide. We're going to give you more and more recommendations. And the next step will be, you just have to allow this, that also HPE will be acting. Okay. So there you go. We have the self-healing, the self-optimizing. You have to do the optimization, but we're giving the recommendations already. But in the future, it will be self-optimizing and self-healing itself. And in the future, even where HPE is going is the workload shaping, so that they get more insights, even not about the infrastructure, but also the workload on top of it. And that HPE will give you recommendations about, hey, that Oracle database, maybe it's better to move that Oracle database to another volume or another server, and so on and so on, or split up the database into different ones. So it doesn't stop. It keeps on going, of course. Like I said, predicting, we're there. We're already giving recommendations. Okay, it's live. I can prove it. I can show it to you. All the others, they are here at the bottom. They start to predict. They're just collecting data. The next step, when will it happen? I have no idea. It can be in 1 year. It can be in 2 years. It can be in 3 years. But I am convinced that at one moment in time, InfoSight is the foundation for the autonomous data center. And now talking about the competition anyway, this is just to give you an idea. You have to ask yourself, and if there's competition involved, ask them about the intelligence and ask them about the visibility. What do you see? Storage, compute, VMs, or applications? And on the intelligence, do you monitor? Do you predict? Do you recommend? Or can you act? Because I can tell you today, HPE is technically able already to act. Not everybody is already ready to allow this, to enable this, but InfoSight can act, can move workloads from one environment to another if you would like that. Up to application level, this is where HPE is. Well, I have some other vendors with their Meta One and ActiveIQ and CloudIQ and so on. They're just here. They're learning. They start to predict. There's one vendor that can see up to the VMs already, but they're almost predicting, they're not recommending and so on. They're still learning, of course. By the way, that vendor is not the vendor that is owner of the biggest hypervisor in the world. that company is sitting at the bottom here. They still need much more to learn, and challenge them. How much can you do, and where can you do it? This is where you're gonna win, because this is where InfoSight is. And then finally, if you, just to give you one idea, you have seen this picture about the latency. Okay, challenge them. They cannot see this. They only can see this on storage. They can only see that light green. They can see the storage latency because they're storage companies. Yeah. We, thanks to cross-stack analytics from InfoSight on Hyper-V and on VMware, we can see the end-to-end latency, and we can split up that end-to-end latency over storage, networking, and hosting. All the others, I'm sorry, they cannot do that. So we give you better insights. If there's a performance problem, we can help you much better with the root latency, with all the heat maps, with all the graphs that are available in there. So this is my resume. My overview finally is what I can advise is for the techies, connect to infosight.hpe.com, get started. If you didn't start yet, put all your ProLiant servers and Nimbles and SimpliVities in InfoSight. It will make your life easier. For the salespeople in the room, please start using InfoSight as a product that you're gonna sell, even if you cannot make any money out of it, because I'm sorry, we don't have InfoSight licenses in stock at Tech Data. There are no SKUs, but use it as a sales tool. I am convinced that you can win more deals, bigger deals, thanks to InfoSight being integrated inside the HPE products. And a few slides ago, you saw that it's everywhere in the HPE portfolio. Now, if you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free. Here are our contact numbers, email addresses. On the first slide was my private email address. If you want demos, because that's my role as a technical consultant. If you want demos, if you want sizings, if you want to give examples for yourself within the company or for your end customers, you know where to find me. I have all my colleagues there who can help you with all those HPE questions about InfoSight and about all the other stuff as well. I'm going to take a look at the Q&A. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here. Stay safe. And I hope that you will come back to the upcoming sessions, because we already had a lot of webinars. We still have a lot of webinars planned starting already in 2 days about smart storage update session. So this is storage related beyond InfoSight. And next week we have 2 really cool sessions about Aruba networking as well. Thank you for your time, and stay safe, and hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.